April 14th, 1941, the greatest hitter Major League Baseball has ever seen was born. His name, Pete Rose. Rose, at 5'11", 192 pounds, played 24 seasons, 21 as a player and 3 as a player-coach, after making his debut April of 1963. The switch-hitting star played outfield as well as infield throughout his career. Rose played for the Reds twice, the Expos, and the Phillies. His stats were unheard of, as he had the most hits ever as any player, and isn't far behind in most other records. It wasn't only his records that distinguished him. He would run to first base on a walk, always try to take an extra base on a hit, and always play dirty. Pete's coach would tell him that he had the day off, and Pete would respond, "Like hell you are."
Pete Rose, he's arguably the best hitter of all time. 4,256 hits. Played the game as hard as anybody. He was a player and manager. Always had a dirty jersey. You don't see it nowadays in the way he played. He should be in the Hall of Fame, but, hopefully there's a new commissioner. He'll change that, but I don't know. We're not going to see another guy like Pete Rose. We're not going to see his record broken. And, it's one of those ball players, once from a generation guy. And, there's nothing left to say about him. He's the best, one of the best of all time.
Rose is probably the hardest player ever. He easily one of the greatest hitters of all time. Led his team to so many championships. He had so much heart. All he did was hustle around the bases. Everything he did was hardworking and ethical. He was just one of the greatest players to ever play the game. The way he hit the ball, most hits ever. Just did everything for his team. Couldn't ask for a better player.
He loved the game, and the game loved him back. His father, Pete Rose Sr., was the toughest man in Cincinnati. He pushed Pete and would never let him go on vacation or to summer school because of baseball. He would rather him skip a grade than a game. On the other hand, off the field was an issue for Rose. Things weren't so good. After his father passed when he was 29, he became a gambler, womanizer, a lousy husband, and a liar. Then he would break baseball's strictest rule. Section 21D. Any player, umpire, club, or league official who shall bet any sum of money in which the bettor has a duty to perform shall be permanently ineligible. After the scandal of 1919 in the World Series with the Black Sox, baseball started taking gambling seriously. Rose would bet on the Reds, the club he managed at this point, to win every night, no matter what. 25 years later, and Pete is still banned from the game.
In my opinion, the debate of Pete Rose, whether it be allowed in the Hall of Fame or not, I just think it's ridiculous. The things he did on the field as a player and a manager, and then compared to things guys are doing now, a lot of people bet on stuff. We got NBA refs betting on games still today. We're not going to let a guy in the Hall of Fame because he bet on a couple of games that he participated in, games that he bet on himself. That's how confident the guy was. And you're going to let people who are on steroids from the 80s and 90s. It's a little ridiculous. I don't like it, and I think he should be reinstated.
Should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. With all the amount of hits he's got, what he did for his team, championships, everything he's ever done in baseball, that should overpower anything that he was accused of doing. Even if it was proven to happen, he gambled on his own team to win, so he just had a lot of confidence. But 4,000 plus hits, that overpowers that. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
On August 17, 1986, at age 45, Pete managed his last baseball game. 25 years later, he's still banished. Pete's name has been missing on Hall of Fame ballots year after year and is not welcomed in most baseball cities. The debate is ongoing about whether or not to reinstate him and put him in the Hall of Fame. But I just want to leave you with this. Baseball's steroid era has risen, and people are still in the Hall of Fame who have done steroids. They cheated to perform better. All Rose did was bet on his team to win. Along with inspiring millions of people across the nation, Rose, a 17-time All-Star, winner of 3 batting titles, endless Gold Glove Awards, the Rookie of the Year, the MVP, along with 3 World Series rings, and a member of the MLB All-Century team, is not in the Hall of Fame. Rose has apologized countless times, and he has done his time, and it's time to let the greatest hitter ever, someone who loved the game, back in it.